Quadzilla. Let's go, pump it up. Big toe, chest up. Quad City.
Yo, I'm BJ Gaddour, the former fitness director for Men's Health Magazine, and welcome to my YouTube channel in this exclusive knee clinic. This is a behind-the-scenes shot at Farrell's Gym in Palm Springs of a knee clinic I just did for these awesome attendees. I wanted to bring it to my YouTube subscribers as well and those who couldn't make the event. You're looking at bone on bone right there. That's the kneecap right on top of the femur, cartilage wear, swelling. These are my severely arthritic knees from American football injuries a couple decades ago that have just kind of followed me now to 43. It got really bad this year. Look at those kneecaps way out to the side. That's a patellar tracking issue. Those are supposed to be in the center. And then bone spurs, you see the wearing of the bone. The whole joint has changed shape, and it's maybe have to completely evolve the way I train to find a way forward. Over the next 90 minutes, I'm going to share the 5 most important components of phase 1 of my knee rehab called Repair, all part of the cheat code program. It all starts with a 10-minute band follow-along workout that retract my patellas and develop that lower quad VMO. Then the BFR bike routine I use that really help maintain a low body fat, condition myself at super low intensities, a 10-minute dumbbell follow-along workout that with very light dumbbells allowed me to get insane levels of strength and muscle gain, plus the backward sled or walk, again using the BFR blood flow restriction technique. You're gonna love this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and save it for later if you can't watch it all at once. All right, baby, massage related to the knees. Now we're emphasizing mainly the quads, but also a little bit of the hip flexor component coming from the middle thigh, rectus femoris muscle that both extends the knee and flexes the hip. We'll come into the hip flexor a little bit as well, but the big thing with the quad, we're gonna go foam roller, I'll show some peanut options, and then manual, scraper, massage gun as well. But you gotta look at, if you're getting tightness here in the middle of the quad, you'll be prone to both pain in the knee and the hip, okay? If you're getting more pain in the outside of the knee, it's this outer quad that's gonna be really tender and tight. If you're getting more inner or medial knee pain, it's that VMO muscle right here that's tight. So you wanna spend about 2 to 5 minutes total. They're big muscles, so 5 minutes per muscle group, and then spend the most time on the areas that bother you the most. So when we go with the foam roller, and again, I like the vibrating option, I always start, because I have a history of lateral knee pain, on the outside. And again, we're going from just above the knee to just below the hip, or all the way into the hip if you can. Now, we use all directions here. I'm going, initially just kind of taking a movement screen, if you will, a sweep. Where am I tender or tight? Oh wait, the whole thing's matted down. So I can go up and down like this. I can also, at each point, kind of roll over and back side to side, or have that kind of lateral rotational action. And then I can play with whether I am straight-legged, where the muscle is more contracted, versus bent-legged, where it's more under a stretch. And that feels completely different when you do it. I can also, again, tack down on the tender tight parts, flex and extend, and then, really try to squeeze that quad at the end range, come back. So that's more the lateral, vastus lateralis area. You're not really rolling the IT band, that's too thick to change anyway, but the outer quad can get stuck on the IT band, which is what's gonna cause that kneecap to go outside and get pulled and cause that lateral pain and poor patellar tracking. So I'll get that outer area. Now, more middle, I'm just gonna switch legs so you can see it better. More middle quad or front thigh area. Again, I'm gonna sweep all the way up and back. And again, you can start one leg off to the side and then load it more by coming through here. But same concept, sweep it through, middle part's really tight. Oh, flex, extend, 3 to 5 reps. I can smash across, and then I can come also into that hip and kind of go side to side here, really kind of more of the iliacus pelvic component, not the psoas, we'll stress that later, which is above the pelvis, kind of attaching to the lumbar spine. And then getting more of the VMO, teardrop, inner quad, lower quad muscles. I just come like this and I roll them out, and again, flex, extend, smash. I can apply more pressure this way and bring it all the way into the adductor as well. So that's how we do it with the actual foam roller. With this guy, this is gonna take a lot of time. You gotta be mindful, it's gonna take a lot of time. It's a very small, big muscle group. But again, if I felt, it's more around the area just above the knee, what I'll do is, I'll put this right above the knee, and then I will just do some additional work, kind of a trigger point work right on that spot. So I'm on it, and then I'm just gonna flex and extend it, and just kind of open that up. And I can work it all the way up the chain. So that's what this is mainly for, more pressure per square unit, and then going into the trouble spots you found with the roller, and then just cleaning it up. Roller gets the big area. This is that little brush that gets those small edges or tight trigger points that you find in your general rolling. So, but again, big muscle groups takes a lot of time. Sometimes I'll do 10 minutes per leg if I'm really matted down. But if you have a history of knee pain, you have to do this every day. You can't skip it. Now let's go into, let's massage it up, get some lotion or CBD oil, and so we can get a good friction going. Simple massage stick. Oops, there goes my attachment. And lots of options, but again, I find a lot of versatility with the double prong. And again, seated at work while watching TV, between sets, I'm just applying downward pressure here. Not just, if I just let it graze, I'm just getting the superficial muscles. This should work your upper body. So pull down into the muscle. And again, I can change whether it's bent or straight, or outer, middle, especially that middle quad area right there, which gets matted down, whether it's bent or straight is good too. And then I can come right inside to that teardrop VMO. This is really nice just to, you know, super simple, easy, but again, you gotta make it uncomfortable for that muscle, really get down and apply some pressure. In terms of the scraper, I do really enjoy the scraper for this because, a little more lotion here, especially on the outside area there, because I can really get into that outer quad restriction. So vastus lateralis area here, here's my IT band, that's the vastus, and I'm just really downward pressure into it a couple minutes, and this will be, it might be a little bit flared up the next day. You're trying to break up all that matted down scar tissue, and similarly with the scraper, I can go knuckles and right out of the shower. It's wet, it's warm, it's you know, heat it up really nice. I can take my knuckles and just really get into the whole quad region and really open that all the way up. So lots of options. Just make sure if you have knee pain, again, every time I like, you idiot, this has been with you since you were 14 in some ways. You got to do this every day. And the days I don't, this tightens up on me, and then my knees start to feel, whether it's aching, stiffness, swelling, tightness, which limits my squats, my lunges, my biking. And because I have to work my quads every day with rehab, I also have to heal them and improve the tissue quality. Ask any questions in the comments below. Get after those quads. Now, Quadzilla. All right, baby, voodoo flossing the knee. Now, if you have ever had knee pain, again, jumper's knee tends to be caused or in the front of the knee, patellar tendonitis. Runner's knee tends to be more on the outside of the leg. But if you have patellar tracking issues, chondromalacia, this is going to change the game for you. Now, a lot of people will tell you, especially if you're prone to that kneecap, that patella gliding outside by this big, strong muscle, pulling it out, and there's weakness in the inside a teardrop VMO muscle that's supposed to pull it back in. When that's happening, okay, this stays out there and gets stuck. So a lot of times therapists will say, okay, let's do some tilts and glide where you kind of take the outside of that kneecap and you kind of push it in manually with your fingers and thumbs, and even also kind of press down on it to open up. So it's a tilt down and push across. I can hold that for time statically, and I can even add some up-down motion to the knee. The beauty of the floss band, if I wrap it medially, I can do that at the same time. So again, I've already wrapped the other leg, and I'm gonna go here, and there we go, yes. So wrap immediately. I start right in the tibial tuberosity, upper shin bone, get a good security over that, and then I start going 50% overlap. I keep the knee soft enough so that the kneecap can move, and then apply that lateral tilt. So if it's totally straight and locked out, it won't help. So keep it slightly bent, make sure the knee is movable, 50% overlap. I'm gonna come, again, above and below. So I do wanna get into that, what's called suprapatellar pouch, which is just above the knee joint, which gets matted down and stiff, maybe harder to get with some other massage implements. I'm gonna come right across and X to finish. All right, and now I'm in place. And by the way, this is gonna have not only the soft tissue fascial improvements, but it's gonna flexion gap like you would by putting a peanut or a pillow or a thick pad between the knee and kind of compressing, whether it's like this, on the floor, etc. It's gonna do all that good stuff for you to get more space in the joint, clean up the capsule itself, and again, we wrap towards the heart to help with swelling. So the first thing I'll do right away is get into some sort of deep squat, or especially initially, if you're newer to this, get kneeling. Nice good kneel. You'll start more like this, side to side movement. You might hear some clicks, cracks, or adjustments as that hinge dust gets kind of blown open with the mobility magic that floss band compression provides. I can also isolate one leg at a time, like this, whether I want to go more plantar flexion or on the toes. So I kind of tie in both toe foot. for my split squat lunging and also just knee bending that way as well. I can even go and kind of shift more weight to that front leg, get on the balls of the feet and go like this. So I've got options that way, just kind of moving it side to side. One of my favorite options from a deep squat standpoint is I elevate the heels. So it lets me work around ankle mobility and get more flexion through the knee and the hip. And with the self-assistance, either holding onto a TRX or like a dip or a box or a bench behind you like this, I can sit into it and get so much motion and really open that up for safety-wise and just going deep all the way down. I can even work on kind of pulsing to halfway, back down, or doing like 3 to 5 reps, fully extending out and squeezing. Inhale down. I'm also trying to improve extension. Coming all the way through like that, all the way up and down. Another thing I like to do as well from a knee extension standpoint is I can take a roller, elevate the heel cord, and then kind of use the weight of my hands. I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to take the tibia right around the upper shin bone, rotate it inwards and push down, and then work on just flexing my lower quad in particular to help get more extension in the knee. So it's not just about the flexion benefits of getting the bend, but also fully getting the knee straight. If it's even slightly bent and you think it's straight, but it's not, all day you're putting more stress to the joint than you want. Squeezing about 5 to 10 of those reps, and again, actively rotating inwards, creating some tibial rotation, squeezing down into it real nice. That's another great option. You can do both sides there as well. And then I'll show a couple final options here, just kind of getting started. Watch, forgot to mention, this is like the money one too, that quad hip flexor. I always do this when I bike because that middle quad muscle crosses the hip and the knee. It gets really tight from biking. So this will really help tremendously, just working that quad hip flexor couch stretch or Bulgarian split squat position. I can even tie in with self-assistance, full range of motion reps while working that. And then I'm gonna put this to the side for a second so I can show something final. But you know what? Again, it's about getting the positions you wanna change. So when I do my bike, I'll do a 2-minute floss band ride. And what often happens too, maybe I start a little bit stiff and achy in these areas, but after 2 minutes of just working that cyclical pattern, I feel really good. And then my biking workout ends up feeling fantastic. So 2 minutes floss band like this, just building up speed, 60 to 80 RPM is phenomenal pre-bike or just general warm-up. And then this is kind of the final one I like to do a lot, is just kind of that self-assisted TRX spot. I go from an active hinge and then I kind of sink down into it. So, and then I'm working, getting full extension in these, pulling back, stretching those hips and hammies, and coming forward, stacking my joints like an accordion in that deep squat shape. And I'll do like 5 to 10 of those. And by the way, there's a blood flow restriction effect happening here, so I'm burning. I can flow between these, set the clock, count on clock for 10 minutes, and get as much done as you can. And initially, you'll only be able to handle maybe 2 to 5 minutes at a time. Over time, you can build up to 10 plus minutes, but start, take it on and off, have fun, get it done. Yo, beginner BFR for the legs. Now I've got my BFR band, upper thigh attached. I've also got my SUJI BFR cuff, compressed at 80%. And again, I found in my experimentation, the tightest I can get this is about 40%, and I can get this from 40 to 80% in 5% increments. So this one's gonna get pumped a lot faster, quicker. It's gonna be more occluded. You'll see it as we kind of go through the sequence here, but this also works just great. It's pretty high up on the upper thigh, past the hamstring peak. And the best way to start getting going here, again, using it for knee rehab, in particular patellar tracking, is a band TKE. So what we do is we take the band, attach it about knee shin level or lower to an anchor point that's nice and smooth. You come away, I can increase the tension by coming further away, but I'm here locked in. Back toe here, I can even kind of assist with a stick. And all I'm gonna do is let that knee, the band pull that knee as forward as I can, keeping the foot flat, improving ankle mobility, tracking that knee right over the foot and the toes, squeezing out. And I can pump out, basically do a minute each leg nonstop for 10 straight minutes, or I can go 5 minutes on one side nonstop, rest pausing briefly 10 to 20 seconds as needed. Again, want more tension, come further out. I also like to play with stepping the other foot forward, still the back, toes, and heel are aligned, but this one is almost like a backward walker sled. I can get a little more pushback effect on this one. So I'll do both options, and again, the goal is to get as much motion as you can, but really squeeze out that quad, targeting the lower quad BMO muscle, really trying to pump it, flush it, and get that going. Again, 1 minute per side, nonstop for 10 straight minutes is phenomenal, or 5 minutes per side, rest pausing as needed. Then we go into some classic, if you want to do some single leg work, the best ways to start with that are going to be a self-assisted step up. Now I could do 6, and like I like to start about top thigh parallel to the floor on this, and again, you can lower it. Lower steps or boxes, especially if they're adjustable, are going to target more quad and calf. The higher you get, the more glute hamstrings involved, but because of this occlusion effect, you're going to feel it everywhere, even though the step up is a little more hip dominant. So I can get here, exhale up, and then use that self-assisted needed, tracking the knee over the foot, slow down and control. And again, I could mix tempo, start with more slow eccentric to kind of, without collapsing, kind of pumping up and down, but it could be a minute per side, or I do my classic alternating step up format for 10 straight minutes. And what I can do is the first 5 minutes, super slow eccentric emphasis. The final 5 minutes, I can speed it up a bit. Again, still always controlling, no plopping, and make sure that knee isn't driving too far forward. A relative vertical shin to load those hips up real nice. And by the way, the attachment site has the benefits of compressing the high hamstring hip flexor area, which will actually help improve hip flexion extension. It's going to improve your mechanics. I could also do a 1 minute per side split squat setup with dip bars or the stick, whatever you want to do. And again, self-assisted, stay tall up top, 90-degree angles in the legs, control it down, exhale up. And all these, inhale down, exhale up. The burn happens quick. And again, it could be a 40-20, a 50-10, or whatever you want to rock, but I just go 1 minute continuous each side. Keep switching sides every minute for 10 straight minutes, and you'll start having to use more self-assistance as you need. I can play with my slant boards, going more like that to get more range even, but again, self-assisting, balancing a glass of water on my head. If I wanted to as well, I could work on some alternating lunges, but again, start with some self-assistance on this because it's gonna be a challenge to just kind of get used to this new stimulus. It's gonna burn like hell. So you just ice pick the stick, alternate sides. I could also just do, left side for a minute and then switch to the right. Another classic setup here is just going through and just continuous 10-minute, like part of our movement assessment, movement screen. Can you do 10 minutes of continuous box squats with your body weight? Inhale down, exhale up. Top thigh parallel to the floor is a good marker for you to kind of work in. And again, that first 5 minutes can just be smooth, eccentric style. Once you're nice and warm and the muscles are already just pumped like hell, then, and if you want to be more rhythmic, you can do kind of that reach, packing those shoulders down. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. Pumping up those quads in a serious way. So, and again, you just rest, pause. No more than 30 seconds though, 10 to 20 seconds. You can shake it out. You can flex the quads, a bodybuilder style where you dig the toes down in, especially the big toe. You rotate it out, you come back in and just kind of work those shapes. Another classic one is just a 10-minute bike. I'll have a separate video for this, but this has been the key to my knee rehab because this goes level 1 through 10. I've got in level 1, and with 60 to 80% compression in particular with the SUJI cuffs, I can make it feel like levels 10, the highest level, and it gives me the hip stability I need because I'm seated to just pump the shit out of my quads, particularly the lower quad VMO responsible for patellar tracking. And this is just a game changer, man. If you have access to a bike, I can't recommend it highly enough. With these, you might need to get a little bit higher, but it'll still be at half the resistance or even more than you would need to get the same muscle building effect, the pump, quad activation, and by the way, insane growth hormone, insane cardio burn. You can use it for intervals, steady state. So any questions, ask in the comments below. Get ready for your beginner BFR legs. Gains! Yo, BJ Gaddour here, and get ready for another BFR 10 workout. This time it's Wheels of Steel, Quadzilla style. I've been using these drills for my knee rehab, particular emphasis on the lower quad VMO muscle. I've got my BFR cuffs on. You can do this without it. This will just be more effective. Lighter loads, better pumps, all that good stuff. You'll need a horizontal anchored band, ideally at about knee level. And then I've showed some modifications with the mini band where applicable. You'll also need a free band. We'll start with, in the first exercise, X-band split squat style, which technically you could use the entire workout. We're going 1 minute of work, 15 seconds of rest, left leg, right leg, 4 variations. Have a stick pull to self-assist as well. So we're gonna start with the X-band. It's gonna be on the right shoulder. We're gonna come here, put it on the left midfoot like that, kind of secure it. Then we're gonna get in position, and we're going 30-30 on this. So I'll kind of switch legs here. I'm locked in, kind of a quarter semi-split squat. From there, lock out. Inhale down, exhale up. All right, so nice little vertical banded emphasis on that front leg, working that knee extension. Really push it through, lower. We're also getting that back leg extension. So we're getting knee extension focused, back and front leg simultaneous. Really dig the back toes, spread the toes, big toe emphasis on both legs. Come up, this kind of a warm-up activation sequence right here. I'm now just gonna stay on the same side, just gonna come back. Now I'm gonna load it on the back leg. So sink down, come through, down, whew. So really press those toes in, push all the way through. Inhale down, it's cooking. Exhale up. Play with your, the spacing of the feet. If you want a little more front foot spacing, move it forward, sink down, push through. Really focusing on driving the big toe in particular underground. Talons with the feet, push through, lock out. Great job. You'll set it to the side quick like that. Just gonna pick up, switch shoulders, just like that. Come through, midfoot secured. Same thing, other side. Front view here. So I'm locked in. Inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, just that quarter position. Exhale up, focusing right there. Inhale down, exhale up. This also is a great option if you don't have the horizontal anchor. Things will go to 30-30 as the front foot and back foot, but stand on the same side the whole set. Inhale down, exhale up. It's cooking. Inhale down, exhale up. Now just switch the legs, keep the band where it is, and now I'm going to the lockout now. Inhale, exhale. Inhale down, drive those toes. Try to make yourself feel it in those muscles just above the knee. That's the key on this. Oh, it's a cook. It's a cooking session today. Quads be cooking. Inhale it down. Exhale it up. Just lift one leg, let it drop to the side. We're done with that guy. Now, band TKEs horizontal anchored. So I'm gonna go behind the knee. I like a thicker band for this. Get some good spacing, back toe, front heel alignment. Stick it, ice pick the ground. Okay, let that knee travel over the toe. Drive back, squeeze it out. Horizontal emphasis now. Improving ankle mobility. If you want more tension, you just step back a little bit. Oh man, it's cooking right now. Inhale forward, exhale back. Now this is more of a forward drive emphasis. All I'm gonna do is keep the foot the same position. Just step forward. I can even switch the stick. And now I can even get more band tension. Now push back. So keep that foot flat still. Let it drive forward, but it's almost like a backward sled walker. Push. Now push back against it. Still locking out that knee. Oh, that left quad right now is on fire. El fuego. Dripping. Beautiful. Okay, let's switch legs. Switch it up now. Wow. Wow. That's good. You could stay that same position the whole way too. Again, I like to just change the stimulus, keep it moving for you guys. Back toe, front heel aligned, ice pick, drive the knee, lock it out and squeeze it. It might even help. Take those fingertips, put in your lower quad VMO teardrop muscle. Palpate it. That actually helps with neuromuscular activation, proprioception. Inhale forward, exhale back. Balancing a glass of water on my head. Horizontal emphasis here. All right, we're not squatting. We're just driving that knee forward and back. Ankle mobility forward, terminal knee extension back. Now I can step the other leg forward just a bit. Come through. Now we'll go back foot emphasis. Inhale it forward. Lock it out back. Inhale it forward. I'm even feeling the other leg too, just from the residual fatigue and the occlusion that's going on with the BFR. But again, you could do this without the BFR. The BFR is just gonna make it so 10 minutes will feel like 30 with lighter loads. Better activation, better pumps, but do whatever you want, okay? It's not my life. It's your life, not mine. Okay, Go back to the other leg. Now we're going band TKE split squat. So get some good tension in the band. It's gonna drive the knee forward, also create some good tension posterior thigh as we do our normal split squats, ice pick, self-assist. Here we go. Inhale down, exhale up, but still squeeze it out. So we're getting that tension and lockout at the top. Wow. Use as much self-assistance as you need to stay in the set. Inhale down. Oh boy, exhale up. Not a muscle in the lower body is not getting hit. Anytime you go split stance, working inner outer hip and thigh, keep spreading those fingers, keep getting the back toe contact in particular, big toe, front foot as well. Lock out at the top. You have to rest, you rest active on the lockout. Oh, whew. Cooking. Come on, chef. Come on, chef, baby biscuits. Whew. Oh man, failure. I'm right there. Easy on the joints though. Whew. Easy on the knees, hard on the quads. That's what I'm looking for. Save the knees, crush the quads. Oh, now you could speed it up, which you'll probably have to if you don't go with the BFR, but go as slow as you have to go to get it right. Good form and technique. Other side switch. Oh man, I'm feeling it, baby. Here we go. And now we're in it. Inhale down, exhale up. Back quad is lit from the previous set. So you really can't get any rest here. 15 seconds is just transition time. Stay in it. Lock it out there. Really squeeze through, open up that hip flexor to dig that back toe. Spread it. Push it. Squeeze it. Halfway. Oh, lock out the top to rest. Keep going if you can. Uncle Baby's cooked. Uncle Baby's already cooked. Oh. Oh. Oh man. Eye of the storm. Eye of the storm. I can't even describe to the burn right now with these green bands. And I got 60% occlusion on my SUJI cuffs. Oh, back toe. One more goodie. Come on. One more goodie. That band's gonna pull that knee forward. Lock it out. All right, now I'll go back to the original front foot forward, left leg, but now just slide that band up to the hip, right in the hip crease. All right, so now we're getting a real good band distraction to mobilize the hip flexor. Hit the spacing. Here we go. Inhale down, stretching, pulling open that interior thigh and hip, but still getting lockout emphasis on both legs for terminal knee extension. Too much tension, just walk it forward. Wow, even resting here, I can just kind of do some pulses, but stay in it if you can. Oh, whew. Come on, baby. Come on, get better today. Change today. One rep at a time. Inhale down, exhale up. That stick, even if you don't need it, use it. Because I want to stay in motion, I want to stay connected. 20 seconds left. I want to stay fully connected to the ground to max out the muscle activation. Oh, 10 seconds. Stay in it, baby. Stay in it. Oh, lightweight's feeling heavy right now. Oh, really focus on squeezing that back leg hip flexor to get the benefits. We got final set coming up. Final set, baby. You're doing a great job. Let's finish strong like we always do in the cheat code. You can initially even just start by kind of just driving that hip flexor open. Okay, here we go. Last set, best set. Whew. Left leg's done. Holy shit. Whew. Lock it out all the way, both legs. Full range. Full flexion, back knee touch, full extension. Come on, baby. Vince Lombardi was right. Fatigue makes cowards of us all, especially with BFR. Vince, he never did BFR. 30 seconds left. So cut me some slack, Vince. Pull open that hip. Rehab, prehab. Mobility meets muscle gain. I can barely stabilize. That's why we have that stick there, so I can stay in. So I can stay in the fight. Inhale down, exhale up, push away. Inhale down, exhale up, push away. Last one. Oh my God. That was, my wife and I, we joke, and this is truly positive. We joke around, you know, things are going bad. She's about to work, I'm about to go to work, whatever. We say, see you in hell, okay? And start using that with your spouse. It's fun. It just breaks the ice, keeps things loose. But I'm not gonna have to see you in hell, you're in it. You felt that quad burn, unreal. Knee rehabilitation here. Again, I like the good slow centers, the good squeezes, pausing the bottom, pausing the top. And you know what I really recommend, first, before you do this, massage the shit out of the quads. Outer, middle, inner. Release that tension, feed the knee some more slack, take away those compressive shearing forces, especially if you have arthritis and knee pain. Then, voodoo floss wrap, compression mobility. Either go through your kneeling series, squatting series, or literally do like 5 to 10 reps in each of these positions with the floss bands on to grease the groove for the workout. It'll make a big difference. Hope you enjoyed this one. Even if you don't have knee pain, this is gonna help you track your patella better, which means better muscle activation across the whole quads, particularly the VMO, which is not only the best looking quad muscle, especially with short shorts, it's the one that keeps those knees safe long term. And again, also, I love to finish most workouts with some quad flexing. I dig in, kind of pivot the toe. Toes are dug in, spread those fingers, those toes and big toe, and put out cigarette butts continuously, flexing those quads hard. I'd also really recommend pairing this with the BFR bike routine. Check that out. So you get some BFR strength, then BFR cardio, best of both worlds. Questions and comments, post-workout reports below. Love you guys, peace. This was tough, I did the best. The leg stuff takes a whole new level of focus, so if you're still here and you got through it, much respect. Peace. Yo, here is a BFR bike intro. Now, before I even get into this, couple things. I do at least 10 minutes of massaging the quads with a variety of implements we've already covered. Then I'll do about 10 minutes of floss band compression for the quads and the knees, whether it's doing a 2-minute bike here with the floss bands on, or a variety of kneeling, squatting, Bulgarian split squat and position type stretches. And by the way too, if you wanted to get off the bike and do some stretching between intervals, or like after certain blocks of time when your butt is bothering, whatever else, we just do that quad hip flexor stretch off of a box or bench. That's gonna allow us to really mobilize directly what is gonna get tight from your biking. And in particular, while you have these on, it's gonna actually help compress the middle quad muscle, and has like a simultaneous BFR and floss band compression benefit from mobility standpoint. Now, setting up the bike, I've got the Concept 2 skier, levels 1 through 10. It's a fan bike. At each level, there is infinite resistance because it's also a fan bike. So it's an erg fan bike, which is why I got it. It's also minimal maintenance, easy to clean, beautifully assembled. I love all Concept 2 stuff. I like to set the seat height for most of my riding right around or just below the hip. Which allows me, while I'm on it, to essentially get the leg not hyperextended. Well, I mean, I should be able to get the leg all the way straight, because what I'm trying to work here is terminal knee extension. And the beauty of this is a lot of knee problems are gonna stem from the fact there's a hip stability issue. The pelvis is tilting, turning, or shifting on one side, over rotating, and that's creating a lot of problems for your gait, your squatting mechanics, and that type of thing. With the seat, it locks in your stability, it unloads you. It's one of the lowest impact cardio mechanisms you have, and it's just a phenomenal way to just blow up the quads, particularly lower quads, the VMO, teardrop muscle, vastus medialis oblique. And there's a couple things I want to talk about too. I've attached these compression cuffs, not as high as I typically would, because what I've noticed, if you go too high as you would the upper thigh or right below the gluteal fold, it interferes, you'll get shaping, it just feels uncomfortable with the seat. So I actually attach it at the highest point where I can see the teardrop. So here's that inner quad teardrop muscle. It's that highest point where I'm on it, if you can kind of see him here. That's where I want it, right in the middle of the quad, right on that middle quad rectus femoris muscle, the one that often gets super tight. So that's where it is in terms of attachment. I've got it started at 60% compression, and on the little dial here, I can go 5% up or down. And typically what I'll do is I'll do a continuous ride every, maybe just a 20-minute 60% if I'm really feeling worn down. After a minute or two with these cuffs on, because I can really compress, I already start to get the pump. With the BFR bands, I'd still attach them the same way. It just might take 5 to 10 minutes before they really start to kick in. What I'm looking for here is maintaining at least 60 to 80 RPM. And there's a couple technique points, especially if you want to hit your lower quad VMO in particular. So keep constant tension into the pedal and try to push down the big toe and the instep of the foot as much as you can. Especially with outer knee issues too, you might find yourself kind of pressing on the outside of the foot. No, you want to press down on the inside of the foot and the big toe to really get the lower quad VMO going. So on the resistance side of things, like I said, I can do a 60% compression ride at level 1 out of 10 and get an insane quad pump. The blood flow is incredible, flooding synovial fluids also into the joint. And so I start my morning with it. I'll do my massage for the quads, I'll do my floss band compression for the quads and the knees, and then I'll go into a 20-minute ride. Then I'll actually typically finish with my 20-minute pool hip mobility flow to tie it all in. But that's my every morning knee rehab. And then whatever I do later in the day is what I do, but I never skip this because of how important it is to me. And you've got to also learn how to prioritize that if you have a joint that is seriously arthritic or you're facing total joint replacement. So I'm gonna just keep riding here. You notice I added my fat grips. I love to add those to any like thin bars because I can just kind of palm this, and people notice too, like they'll over grip their handles, and that's not a nice thing to do. You'll end up getting, you know, tension, tightness in the forearms, hand, finger, wrist pain. We don't want that. So I can literally just palm this, and mechanics matter. So you want to take the palms and push the chest up, activate the serratus anterior muscles alongside the ribs for shoulder stability. I like to get the handlebars as high as possible so I'm not leaning over too much. I want as upright of a trunk as possible to really target my quads. And so I can kind of sit tall and back, and again, big toe, instep, pumping down, pushing. So that's about the 2-minute mark. And by the way, short on time, or you work remotely, or you work in a gym, you just want a quick lymphatic pump for 2 to 5 minutes, EHO style, every hour on the hour, just break up your day. Jump on here quick, and stiffness in the knees will be gone. It's incredible how much of a pump you get. And again, no pain in my knees. I can get the best quad pumps of my life at level 1 on this. And if you find yourself getting, you know, consistently way above 80 RPM, then what you can do is just slowly work your way up one level at a time. So that's how I approach it. Now, if I'm feeling pretty good and I want to do a steady state with a buildup, with the SUJI BFR cuffs, I'll go 4 minutes at 60%, then 65, 70, 75, 80. Every 4 or 5 minutes, I am bumping up 5%. So the final 4 or 5 minutes is just brutal. I can barely keep it at like 70 RPM. And when it dips below 60, typically 60 RPM, if you're using something with that readout, it probably means the intensity is too high for the current level of compression. You can also do intervals on this, by the way, and typically what would take me to get to level 10, which it is on the bike, it's low impact, but it's still impact, and it's still tension. So if I go up to level 10, to have to get an HIAT effect for 30 to 60 second sprints, but I can come down to like 3, 4, or 5, what does that mean? And I'm getting the same, if not better, muscle pump with the BFR cuffs. Again, less tension, less overall stress on the joint, and I can do it more often. I can recover faster. So again, this is a off day recovery after a heavy leg day or a heavy ride. It's also potentially a great warm up or cool down or starter finisher. It can be steady state. It can be interval based. You can warm up some steady state for 5 or 10 minutes before you go into intervals. A classic starting point, I think, is just a 60 on, 60 off. And what I'll typically do on that is I can either build up the compression from interval to interval, or I can just build the level from interval to interval. So I've got a lot of options. But again, palm it, chest up, rib shoulders down, push through the big toe and instep of the foot, get a good cadence going. And by the way, it's okay to work in some fast speed, 100 to 120 RPM plus. If you want to really work speed and just keep it really light, get a crazy pump like in about 2 minutes if you're short on time, or a nice little finish, you're just working in tempo changes. But what I can also do too, anytime I change it, you want to let the cuffs come up 5%. So I'm going to come to 65. And I'm going to keep going with you guys here. So pump, push down, engage. They're starting to swell up real nice. The one thing to know too, because I'm including the legs, right? So below the attachment point, there's arterial inflow, but I'm limiting venous return. So you're seeing the red blood flush that muscle, pump it up. If you're lean, you'll see some vascularity start to occur in the thighs and the calves, but it'll get a little bit whiter above the attachment because the blood's trapped down there, and also because you're seated, that's also going to be limiting your blood supply too. So if you start to get, this is kind of funny, but after about 20 minutes, like, and it sounds like unsafe, but my privates go numb. My dick and my balls, they get a little bit numb. So every 5 minutes or so, by the way, this happens without the cuffs. Just seated, it does obstruct blood flow. So I like to kind of sit, really let my kind of hips come forward a little bit so I'm really back on the tailbone. But just whenever you feel that, just come up, stand, kind of rest it a bit, or I do a little bit of a hip, internal, external rotation, in and out. I can do both sides that way. Internal, external, kind of open it up. I can actively hinge, flex, extend, open those hips up a little bit. I can do it on, both sides. Internal, let that, see, I'm just kind of, so just use a half minute to a minute break whenever you feel like, oh, my butt's hurting, my taint is feeling like it's scorched right now, or you get like numb in your privates, you can do that as well. So coming through. So the 65, I already feel like, wow, this is a bigger pump than I was expecting. And this will blow you away the first couple times you do this. Breath. So I typically do a 4-cycle inhale, 4-cycle exhale. I can keep it nasal only if I really want to challenge my diaphragm. If you don't want to count the actual cycles, you'll get into a rhythm with it. You can just maintain a smooth inhale, exhale cycle. So at faster cadences, I use that 4-4 rhythmic. If I'm going really heavy resistance, let me just bump it up. Like 5 right now with 65% is going to feel like I'm in hell. Okay? Now if it's slower cadence, let's say 40 to 60 RPM, then I'll go 2-2. So every 2 cycles, inhale, 2 cycles, exhale. Oh man. Yeah, so like this feels like level 10 to my muscles right now. It's on 5 and I'm only at 65% compression, and now I'm having a hard time maintaining even 70 RPM. I'm gonna go back down to 1 so I can go through the sequence. My workout today planned was, again, 4 minutes at 60%, level 1, then every 4 minutes, I'm bumping up 5% until I get 80. That max compression at 80 is where it feels insane. But again, I could go interval based, and whether I'm resting the full 60 or just going like L1 for 60 at a slower recovery pace, or the next minute, again, I want to go back up to 5, let's say. But it's not going to take, again, it's half the resistance or even less than you'd expect to get the same level of cardiovascular muscle pump. And again, you could say, well, the loads are so light, I'm not gonna get the same level of fat loss or muscle gain or cardio, but it's not the case. Again, your body is done with this stuff. It's gonna be even more quad pump, and because the legs take up so much oxygen, your heart rate is gonna be up higher than normal, your calorie burning rate is gonna be higher than normal. So again, and beyond the fact that because of the hypoxia in the muscles, primarily below the attachment site, it's like taking your muscles into altitude, the way Michael Phelps used to go to the mountains of Colorado pre-Olympics and challenge his body. The performance goes down initially, right? Less resistance, you gotta go slower, but then it's like taking off the brakes when you go back to sea level. And then he ended up killing people with 20 plus, 23, 25 golds. All right, one of the all-time greats, and boxers do this too, that want to go 10 plus rounds in a championship fight. They go to altitude. You're taking your muscles to altitude with the BFR. So you're starving them of oxygen. And that makes the slow twitch fibers fatigue much faster, making the fast twitch fibers that you typically could only hit with really heavy loads, fast, explosive, high impact movements. Now you can do it with super light loads. So that's what's happening here. I'm gonna go up another percentage point here, 5%. So I'm at 70, we're 10 minutes into the ride. You see how much sweat's going on? And I'll show you the leg pump at the end of this. But again, big toe, instep, good breathing mechanics. Don't get sloppy here. Palm it, chest up. And again, what I'm teaching you is related to not like competitive cycling or competitive stationary biking. I use this as a conditioning and strength tool. So I'm looking at how is this gonna help me with my knee arthritis? How's it gonna help me with my patellar tracking? How's it gonna build my quad, specifically the teardrop VMO muscle, to help track my patella more medially inside versus out, all right? And how's it gonna help my overall conditioning so I don't have to do as much high impact stuff. Even walking outside in cement, you gotta get padded shoes, okay? When you're bone on bone, you've got no margin for error, so the more you can find your kind of daily activity level to be found through non-impact activities that actually feed your knee tracking, the quad strength, and unload the knees in the back, the better. Yeah, awesome pump. Awesome, awesome pump going on right now. Good sweat. And what's great about starting your day like this too, just knowing, okay, like, well, I can always do the 60% for 20 minutes. It's never easy, but it's just a nice way to start the day. Have my coffee, take a shit, too much info, get some water in, and I hit, after I do my massage and mobility compression, I get right into my BFR ride, and I can just be consistent with it, you know? Maybe take 1 or 2 days off a week if you need it, but it just is a system you can get into, and days I'm feeling better, I go more compression and or add higher levels or mix in some sprints. Days I'm really worn down, it's like, oh, they're stiff, my quads are sore, I'll just do a light, steady state recovery ride. And again, people knock steady state, but steady state aerobic oxidative work is your base, okay? It's also what drives your body's recovery system. So you need it to recover from the high intensity work, beyond the fact that as you age, you can't do much high intensity. You gotta reduce the overall intensity, frequency, volume, especially if you're battling arthritis, aches and pains, stuff like that. So right now it's 84, 86 RPM at level 1. In about 90 seconds, I'm gonna bump it up. Actually, no, right, I'm sorry, I gotta bump it up to 75. Okay, so again, this is like adding weight. It's like adding level of tension. So now it's 75% again. So now that RPM is gonna drop a little bit. Whew. And by the way, too, you could say, well, starters, finishers, it's great for this too. You're doing squats. The goal is muscle gain. I would do this before you squat. Pre-fatigue the muscle so that it takes less weight, less reps, less time to get the effect you're looking for in your squat workout. Less load to the spine and the back. Obviously, if you're a power lifter, which the goal is always only how much weight can you lift, you'd want to save it for after, or just make the warm-up very light, or maybe it's an off-day protocol for you. But again, if the goal is rehab, like, you got to take your ego out of the equation. When I was younger, I could never allow myself to do this level 1 in the bike. Are you crazy? The ego got in the way. The ego, like, you start to learn this, especially as a man over 40. That's, I think, when the shift happens, because your ego, if your ego hasn't died and you're over 40, it never will. I found you let it all go. So if I can use Barbie pinky weights or the lightest level resistance and my muscles explode and my thighs are bigger than 99.9% of the people on this planet, and I can do it without the knee pain that's been dragging me down, the inflammation I have to kind of worry about every day with the arthritis, it's allowing me to do my job better. So to me, that's the win. Like, it's a cheat code. That's what this is about. It's a cheat code I can use. Now, by the way, it's not that I never want to go up to level 10, but now I don't have to do it as often. I can pepper it in, and in most cases, especially if I've got a flare-up, I always know what I can do, so I'm never stopping. The key to all of this, whether it's rehab or just fitness in general as a lifestyle, you can never stop. It's a dimmer switch. You're always on, but the light might be a little more dim,
on the rough days, the high stress days, the short on time days, and then it's up when you're highly motivated. You got time, you got energy, things are going good, but you never turn it off. It's too hard to turn back on. And that's what happens every New Year with people. Woo! Can't wait to get 80%. What I'll do in the final 5 minutes too, and by the way, you could literally just do this. You could just ride with me. Now, if you, by the way, I'll note too, if you have a fan bike and you don't have the ability to like adjust the levels, what you're gonna do is, if it's a steady state, it's the fastest sustainable pace you can maintain without having to stop. So there's gonna be, you wanna feel some lactate and some burn in the legs, but you should be able to continue, probably able to still talk a little bit. Obviously, if you're doing sprints, you're moving it as fast as you can with good form and technique. But I do, whether it's an upright bike, which is my preference, or a recumbent bike, I like if it has levels, but the Concept 2 bike is the best of all worlds because it has both levels 1 through 10 in 1 increments, and it has the fan, so at every level there's infinite resistance. So I could still, at level 1, pedal really fast to make it harder. All right, let's go to 80. Whew. All right, they've set. Here we go. Final 4 minutes here. Thanks for joining me on my morning workout. If I can kind of sum up like I was facing total knee replacements. So you're talking like what? Minimum $5,000 to $10,000 per knee. You're talking about the fact that 15% of the replacements don't take. You're talking about how the 85% that do have success probably never get full flexion back, probably lose general proprioception to the joint, may never fully regain the full strength and mobility back, though they might be in less pain. So my whole thing is, I don't have a year to be out of work and not be able to film videos and stay in shape. So that's different for me. But I also look at it from the standpoint of, if I can kick that can as far down the road as possible, that's gonna allow me to hopefully maybe avoid something so invasive. Or the AI and the robots are so good they can do it at 100% success rate, better than ever before. Or with stem cells, with peptides, with hyaluronic injections, some of the stuff that's like new, not FDA approved. We don't really know what's gonna happen long term, but it's promising. 5 to 10 years on the road, if I can kick that can, or maybe I can avoid it altogether. But the reality is, even if you don't have knee arthritis, well, 30 million people in America have knee arthritis, America alone. So it's a big problem, and you're gonna get knee pain occasionally from training your legs, walking, running, squatting. This is gonna help manage that. So it's rehab. Is it rehab? Yeah. Is it also prehab? The best way to avoid arthritis or treat arthritis is to never get it in the first place. Avoid the wear and tear. Be smart about your training. What I'm gonna do now is up to 80, it's cash. I'm gonna go up to 5, and I'm gonna go as fast as I can for the final 2. So again, like I said, I go faster cadence, 4-4 rhythmic, 4 cycle inhale, 4 cycle exhale, slower cadence, higher resistance, 2-2. I love to finish the last 2 minutes strong, whether it's getting all the way up on the compression or bumping the resistance up a bit, or staying at the same resistance and going as fast as I can. So you've got options. I go nasal only if I'm more steady state. When I start to get into real aggressive rides, I exhale through the mouth. I still inhale through the nose, but I exhale through the mouth so that I can really get the waste out. Get out that CO2. Oh my God, dying right now. Can barely keep it at 74. Oh, it's dipping. Whew, at RPM 71 now. Less than a minute left. Big toe, big toe. Sometimes I'll even close my eyes to increase my body awareness. And I just wanna feel, make yourself connect, mind muscle connect. Make yourself feel those VMOs, those lower quads. Make yourself feel the big toe push, the instep pressure. It makes it so I'm not wiggling, I'm locked in. That's what I don't like about bike sprints, people. They go, whether it's a man bike, whatever, I lock in. I'm driving the motion mainly through the legs. Lock down on my core and upper body. 10 seconds left. Oh, shit. And then I always can finish with some quad hip flexor stretching out that box bench. Let me just show it quick. Ideally get a back pad for the knee, especially my right side. Again, they're gonna tighten up for being seated like that. So get right down, stretch them out with the occlusion, by the way. So you're continuing, you're extending the pump. It's like where mobility meets muscle gain. Add some rotation. Glide it forward a little bit to get more true hip flexor versus more quad hip flexor. So that's phenomenal. But I take the bodybuilder approach too. I like to flex them out. So what you like to do is, again, this will actually help build isometric strength, particularly from the ground up. So spread those toes, push down, and just in and out. Sweep it. Come back through, in and out. Sweep it. The pump is precious.
Yo, BJ Gaddour here, and get ready for a Quadzilla style workout with dumbbells. You need a lighter 5 to 10 pound bell, a medium like 10 to 25 pound bell, and a heavier 25 to 50 for this workout. 2 minutes of work, 30 seconds of rest. We're gonna start on the ground with the foam roller just behind the knees, and we're gonna be using a squeeze technique between the feet for the dumbbell. So we're doing terminal knee extensions using the roller right behind the knees as kind of a pivot point, really emphasizing VMO. So I'm gonna take this bell, and there's lots of ways I can do it. I can kind of put it between the legs like this and squeeze it. I can squeeze it between like this. I could get it spaced like that and squeeze the legs. So you have a lot of opportunities there to kind of mix it up. For our purposes today, I'm just gonna play with putting it right like this. I'm gonna squeeze it out, and I've kind of got it resting between the legs here. So I'm locked in. Here we go. Exhale up. Inhale down, nice and smooth. Heels will touch. Using a 10 pounder here, I got a fat grip on the handle too, so that it doesn't, worry about serrating the handle on my shoes. It's also just more comfortable. Rubber on rubber. Inhale down, exhale up. And you're also trying to squeeze that bell hard together, get an adduction force, and activate the pelvic floor, but also it'll help you get a better squeeze out on those VMO muscles. 90 seconds left, we're cooking. We're gonna start in more of the terminal knee extension, just the top portion here. Then I'm gonna go to a high box and go full range with the same weight in the next set. Keep squeezing that bell. The hardest thing is squeezing the bell together. If you have to kind of reset it, just get it right back in and you're good to go. Full lockout, inhale down, exhale up. I got 80% compression on my SUJI cuffs. I've also put it on my mid-quad rectus femoris muscle so that I'm really preferentially burning out my VMO muscles. All right, halfway, I'm gonna just show a different option here where I kind of have it like this, and I'm gonna squeeze it between the legs and maintain it that way. Little wider position. Oh. Squeeze it out, baby. Really push your knees down hard into the roller. Inhale down, exhale up. Let's go, get better today. Half roller should work. If you have really wide hips, you might want to go a full roller. 20 seconds, I'm cooking right now. Really squeeze out, even kind of touch them, squeeze them at the top. Squeeze the bell together and squeeze those VMOs at the top. Full extension. 10 seconds, stay in it. Woo! Oh, it's cooking today. Quads be cooking, quads be quaking, baby. Oh. Roller to the side. I got my other dumbbell ready here. I'm gonna go high box step. And again, if you have to go lower, you can. Go as high as you can get it to get that full range. All right, so you can modify as needed. I'm gonna have it like this. And all I'm gonna do is basically kind of just take that bell and just squeeze it between the legs to get that nice full range of motion, all right? Oh, so now it's good eccentric emphasis. We got that top extension rocking. Squeeze it. And here we go. Inhale down, exhale up. Oh, Oh, at any point you can readjust the weight. It's a 2-minute set so that no matter what happens, you're gonna get the job done. Oh my God. Whew. It's a tough 10 minutes, baby. Let's get better today. Keep squeezing that bell. Good lockout, control it down, nice eccentric. Whew. Push down into that box. Oh my God, this 10-pound weight feels like 100 right now to my BMOs. Who says you can't do, who says you can't do leg extensions at home? You with the biscuit. Slow, slow, keep squeezing that bell. Keep squeezing it between. You can also kind of come down too and make sure that the top of the bell is just above the shoe to make sure it's locked in position. Oh, whoa, this is brutal, bro. Brutal. I want to really keep it slow and controlled. Up and down. Don't slingshot it up. Control it. Smooth up, squeeze, smooth down. Let's cook it out, baby. Ooh. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm dying right now. Stay in it, baby. Stay in it. Whew. 30 seconds left. I'm shaking. Shaking and quaking, baby. Let's go. 13 seconds. Last one. Good 5-second hold to finish. 1. Squeeze. 2, 4. Shit. Okay, box squat. We're going with a wider stance. I'm gonna add a band if you want. If you don't wanna add the band, you don't have to add the band. But I'm gonna go wide, mid-foot, super wide, get some tension in the band, just light red band. Then I'm gonna take my dumbbell, go front squat, hold one hand in each bell, and just put the band right in the middle of the handle. And again, I like to put electrical tape or a fat grip on there so that I'm not gonna damage my band. Really wide stance. Get it up here, elbows up. Here we go. Slow inhale down, 3 to 5 seconds down. Good pause. Come up, and I get peak tension on the quads at the top. That lockout. I'm using a 25 here. That's plenty of weight, especially with that VMO cook I've already got going. You gotta compartmentalize. You gotta be the eye in the metabolic storm if you wanna get through these workouts. You can do them without the cuffs, but the cuffs allow me to take a 10 and make it feel so challenging to my quad muscles. But again, since I have severe knee arthritis, bone on bone, I don't want to put a lot of load through the knee joint, but I got to work my knee extension. I have to isolate it. So it's kind of the best of both worlds here. I can make it heavy on the muscles, light on the joints. Inhale down, slow, smooth, kind of hover just above the box. Whoo! Exhale up, keep cooking. You want to speed it up, you can. I want to stay locked in this nice, slow, eccentric. Woo! Stay in it, baby. Stay in it. Once that pump hits, it never quits. Come on. Whew. Inhale down, smooth. Spread those hips, or spread the taint, as I like to say. Exhale up. Keep the weight right here. Don't let it come in front. Elbows up. Elbows up. Push, 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 push. Sit tall. Oh, let's go, baby. Finish it off. Finish it off. You want to do multiple rounds, rest 1 or 2 minutes between rounds. You can always go heavier on the subsequent rounds. You can go faster. First round, you just got to feel it out. Dial in the loads. Still get a precious pump. One more. And try to accelerate up against that band tension. I'm gonna grab my 50 now. Okay, we're gonna go. That was a wider stance. Now I'm gonna go closer stance. And I'm gonna try to keep a constant tension on it too. All right? So, gonna straddle it, get as close to the weight as you can, and I'm not gonna come all the way up. I'm gonna touch the ground, but I wanna avoid resting if I can. 2 minutes left. Let's go, baby. Here we go, lock it in. Squeeze it out, but keep those slight knee bends to keep constant tension. Inhale it down, exhale it up.
Head in line with the spine. Chest up. Quads. Let's go, baby. Don't let it touch and don't lock out. So quarter bend to just hover. And keep kind of leg pressing the floor. Inhale down. Exhale up. Come on, baby, stay in it now. You want to feel those outer forearms touch those inner quads right there. Push it up. You got to go wider, but try to get close, because you did a wide stance previously. Stay in it, baby. Head in line with the spine. Don't lock out. Chest up. Halfway. You and me together. Let's finish strong. Okay, I have to lock out here. Dying. Oh, come on, baby. Come on, Biscuit. Don't let him down, Biscuit. Don't let him down. Let's go. Finish. Now a little bit of pumper. Exhale up, inhale down. Same range of motion, but now a little bit more rhythmic. Lock it out. Oh man, squeeze those quads at the top. You just squeeze them. We got 30 seconds left. Come on, baby, stay in it. Pump it. Come on, pump. Come on, 15, you and me. Back! All right, good morning. So, like I said, I was joking with one of our VIPs, Kim G. BFR, blood flow restriction, also stands for big fucking reaction. Because, man, if you're doing it right, you're wrapping it right, you're loading correctly, you're doing these protocols, it's gonna take you to new places, all right? But we'll go to those places together. We build the resilience mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Nothing can stop us. All right, make your post-workout report in the comment section below. My quads be quaked, so I'm done. And always remember too, I did it, before I even started here, did a good 10 minutes per side massage with a peanut, really get in the mid-quad, outer quads, and I did some floss band on the knees, kneeling, squatting position, just kind of getting that flexion, going some extension work. So that does pay dividends. Love you guys. Peace. Yo, BJ Gaddour here. I want to take you through my BFR sled work. Now we can go forwards and backwards on this. And again, with the sled, so many options to choose from, whether you're at home or going to the gym. Obviously, there's a classic traditional sled you push, indoor, outdoor. Big fan of Torque Fitness and their sleds. I've done a lot on that. You can also take a treadmill, turn it off, called the dead mill. And especially when it comes to the backward walking style, you just slowly go between pushing away on that treadmill, driving through that big toe in particular, working that terminal knee extension, probably the most applicable to knee rehab, because again, that terminal knee extension is what builds that low quad VMO muscle that's very important for tracking that patella. When that gets weak, especially with chronic arthritic swelling, that kneecap goes out to the side, which is made even worse by the fact that most people have very dominant outer thigh vastus lateralis muscles, which contribute to that lateral pull, which can cause a host of issues, mainly wearing down the cartilage, tendonitis, and then really aggressive arthritis. Joint replacements down the road, no doubt. So we want to avoid that whenever possible. You can also take a traditional treadmill and you can put it between half a mile and 1 mile an hour, put the incline as high as it goes, and just kind of work on stepping back and forth in a similar manner. Again, working that terminal knee extension, keeping the hips slightly bent. And one thing I'll say too, obviously you can push a regular sled forwards and backwards, but, and I'll show a forward option on this manual sled tread, which I really enjoy, but you have to think about it from the standpoint of, what am I mainly trying to accomplish here? So if the goal is more terminal knee extension, I would go more of the backward sled. If the goal is more triple extension, ankles, knees, and hips, then I would probably want to go more towards the actual forward sled push. You can also mix between them, which is also fantastic. Again, on all these, really focus on pushing through the big toe.
That's very important for maxing out the activation of a bunch of key muscles, soleus, and also the VMO muscle as well. But you can do the whole suite on a traditional treadmill, the dead mill, or get something like this, a sled shorter. Just do a regular sled pull, and you can go push-pull. I love continuous formats of, like, let's say you set the clock for 10 to 20 minutes, push it X amount, maybe 25 yards, pull it back 25 yards, repeat for time. You can also, especially with what I'm using today, which is the SUJI BFR cuffs, where I can adjust the compression from 40 to 80% in 5% increments. I can do, ascending sets going from 40% and adding 5% every couple minutes till I get to 80 and max it out. I can do descending sets. I can do drop sets where I start really high, when I fatigue, bump it down. So it's almost like treating the pressurized cuff like weights. And what we're doing here, by the way, is we're taking advantage of BFR to do this. Now, when I initially was trying to get after my knee rehab, I started doing these backward. I've been doing sled a long time. I played football in high school and college. And we did all this stuff, but obviously technology has come out where you can kind of get a manual option or that type of thing, and it became very popular for knee rehab, for terminal knee extension and VMO development. The issue is when you have really aggressive knee arthritis, bone spurs, like I do, patellar tracking issues, it's hard to get the proper training effect without flaring up the joint and causing swelling. So with BFR, I was finding that I could go really and this has adjustable resistance. I can also go between the easier on this version. Incline is easier because there's a downward gravitational push. Most other treadmill options, obviously incline is harder. I could also walk backwards outside uphill against a gradient to get a similar effect. Just make sure you don't fall back. And so I was trying, how can I get the pump I was getting, but without the joint strain or swelling the next day? So with BFR, I could go slower and really focus more on my technique, on really pushing through the big toe, driving the extension, slow, lighter resistance, slower speeds, but I was getting a better muscle pump. And I wasn't getting the joint pain or soreness or swelling the next day. So again, you can do this without the BFR. The BFR is gonna make it so much more effective. Within a minute or two, with the right amount of occlusion and compression, you're gonna get a pump that would take 10 plus minutes without it, and typically it would take really fast speeds, really heavy loads, etc. to achieve it. You can also go with the cheaper BFR bands, or you can floss band it. And just know with the floss bands, they're super intense. So what you might have to do is just only keep them on for 2 to 5 minutes at a time, take them off, rest a couple minutes, put them right back on, and kind of approach it in that manner, which is fine. Treat it like a traditional set. Push or pull on the sled as long as you can with the floss bands on, take them off, rest a couple minutes, and then repeat as many sets as you want. Or just do it as a quick starter or finisher to kind of blow things out. Now, one thing to note in terms of attachment style here, I actually just warmed up for 20 minutes on my BFR bike. Check out that video if you haven't seen it. And I'm actually using a lower placement so I didn't have to deal with the shaping or the uncomfortable nature of the wrap or the cuff, like digging into the seat, digging into my crotchal region. So what I attach it on the rectus femoris middle quad muscle, versus the traditional attachment is all the way up in the gluteal fold. The uppermost section of that thigh, right below the butt cheek, is typically where people do it. For what I'm trying to accomplish, which is mainly VMO development, I've got it right stacked in the mid quad below the VMO. So I can actually maximize the occlusion on this guy, which I really enjoy too. And one thing to know too with putting these up, and you can, by the way, you can walk with this too. The walking, especially when you go with the higher attachment into the glute, but even still with this, what it does, I've noticed, and this isn't like, it's a slightly different type of walk because I have to stabilize and push for counterbalance on this. But what I noticed is if you haven't noticed, my hamstrings are the size of most people's legs. So they're very active. And what was happening when I was going into my gait, driving hip extension, I was leading more hamstring than glute. But the compression on the hamstring was actually forcing the glute to fire first before the hamstring. So it was actually improving the firing patterns of my muscles, which is fantastic. And again, you can do the same thing with the floss band, the BFR band, or these high-end SUJI BFR pressure cuffs, which, by the way, I've got my app here. I'm going to take you through a little session here where I start at 60%. You can see kind of the pace I'm going to go at where I'm starting fatigue, then I'm going to bump up 5% in increments and kind of burn it out for you so you can kind of see it in real time. Obviously, it's higher end. It's about $700 with HSA, FSA eligible funds, which is great. And the way I was looking at it, facing total knee replacements, well, each one is about $10,000. Each joint 85% success rate, and then even when it's successful, you typically don't have the same type of function. Most people never gain the flexion all the way back in their knee, etc. And I don't have time. I gotta make money, I gotta pay bills, and I gotta stay active and in shape. So I don't have time to take a year off. So I'm trying to kick that can as far down the road as possible and manage this arthritis to the best of my ability. And I've done so 3 months in the summer now as I've been beta testing, developing what is the cheat code. So this is bonus cardio, starter, finisher, off day, but it's a big component of the knee rehab. So I did the biking first, which I like to do because the biking stabilizes my hips, and then I can really warm up the knee joint, get my VMOs popping, and then when I come on here, I still, by the way, prefer, if you are rehabbing, don't go, I love the regular sled, but what I recommend, especially on the backward style, is handles, and then ideally your hips having something to push on, because again, a lot of the knee issues are coming from possibly a hip instability, asymmetry issue, so this can help us block that. And then if we have tracking issues with the patella, any sort of lateral deviation is going to cause that kneecap to wiggle a bit, and that's going to be wearing down the cartilage more, potentially causing more tendonitis issues. So what I was finding, again, BFR, high stability, slow, and then just ramp up the speed in the load or the intensity based on what you're using. But it doesn't take much. And again, your goal is initially 5 to 10 minutes continuous, build up to 20. Then you can start playing with some intervals where you're going, let's say, 60 seconds hard, 60 seconds light or rest, 5 to 10 total times. That's a nice way to start. Or you can kind of treat it like boxing rounds where you go 2 to 3 minutes on, 1 minute rest and repeat. But steady state continuous is where you build your base. So I'm at 60% here, and I've got a slight hip dip. And again, I'm focusing on just driving and pushing through the big toe. If you can do a minute or two with no pain in the knee joint, and your good stable form and technique, you can say, okay, I'll start to speed it up a bit, or I can actually bump the intensity up. So that's feeling pretty good. Breath-wise, if I'm going really quick on this, I go 4-4 breathing cadence. I try to keep it mostly nasal only. That would mean every 4 pushes, I inhale, every 4 pushes, I exhale. So it would go. Now, if I've got high intensity, high load, I might go 2-2 where it's 2 push inhale, 2 push exhale. I may even come into exhaling through the mouth. So, now it's really important to understand, you've got to have a breathing strategy for every exercise, particularly cardio. And a lot of people, they jump on a bike, a rower, a skier, I see it all the time, and the slide, they just go crazy, and they have no way of managing their breath, which means they're gonna fatigue faster, they're gonna have harder time recovering between sets, between workouts. They're also gonna kind of create a situation where they're just like really high cortisol, really stressed out, and they're not owning the movement, right? You wanna learn how to do your movements relaxed, stay ahead of your breath, under control, and then build that baseline over time. The way Bruce Lee used to do, right? It's all about relaxed strength, relaxed power. Yeah, you can go hero mode and scream and yell. You can't sustain that. But you can sustain good breathing mechanics, stable form, rely on that, build that baseline up to the point where you gradually build the ability to go for longer, harder, but especially when you're in BFR, because this is creating a hypoxic environment below the attachment site in particular, but there's secondary effects above. So the main thing though, if we look at it, taking your muscles into altitude, all right? So you're trapping blood, you're allowing arterial inflow, and if you don't compress too tight, you want to keep it no higher than 80% compression, whatever you're using, then it's restricting the venous return, which means the blood's pooling, there's limited oxygen there, slow twitch fibers fatigue really quick, fast twitch fibers have to kick in at loads and intensities they typically never would, and it feels to your muscles, which are dumb, your nervous system. That's the smart part of your body when it comes to the doing fitness, right? Your muscles are dumb. All they know is time and tension, and the tension they feel because of the restriction, it feels like heavy weight. It feels like fast, explosive movements, all right? So I'm at 60 now, and I can go at a pretty good pace here, and I could go, by the way, at the same load intensity, I could go slow recovery pace, and then quicker, faster, push pace. So I can do intervals that way too, or just go on feel as well. The moment I can't maintain my breathing mechanics, that means I stop or I slow it down. Now I'm gonna bump it up to 65. Let's go through a whole set here, a build up. I could even pyramid it all the way up and down, set the clock for 20 minutes, and just get as much work done as possible. Here we go. So 5% added. And again, what you'll notice with typical BFR, if we're looking at rep-based stuff like push-up squats, typically what would fatigue you in 20 reps can happen in as little as 5 to 10 reps. And then especially on the repeats, I love rest pause. Rest pause briefly, 10 to 20 seconds, no more than 30. You keep going close to failure without losing form and technique, and you can get so many light load failures, so you really achieve a powerful muscle building stimulus. So that 65, again, it's like adding weight to the sled, but I kept the weight the same. And the pump is precious right now. I'm really building it up. All right, so that's feeling good. Let's pump it to 70. And when you inflate this, by the way, they say just stay still until it'll tell you when it's ready to go and inflates up. Nice little iPhone app. I mean, I'll tell you what, this used to be stuff that, again, this is well researched. It's not bullshit or pseudoscience. This has been used in high-end sports rehabilitation settings. Wounded warriors coming back from war that have amputations or serious injuries and could not rehabilitate the joint traditionally. They started using blood pressure cuffs in a similar manner, occluding the blood flow to certain areas they're trying to build muscle to with super light loads because of how injured they were. So now with these awesome consumer products, again, HSA, FSA eligible, the masses now have a real precise way to do this. Again, 80% is, you never want to go higher than 8%, so it means you never have to worry about it being too tight, and you can build up from 40, halfway of that compression in 5% increments. You treat it like a weight stack. I can go up and down and just have a great workout that way. And again, this, one thing I noticed too when I started doing a lot of BFR cardio, because the legs already are such big fat burners, such big muscles, such big oxygen demand, but there's such a big growth hormone stimulus during the workout, which, you know, that's one thing intervals do. There's a big catecholamine response. Intervals in particular, HIITs, but also just like intensive cardio pushes, that generation of lactate stimulates growth hormone production naturally. So I noticed, man, I was getting so lean and shredded, which was one of my concerns about, like, I stopped walking as much and backed off on anything that would kind of flare up the knee joint. So I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna get so much cardio, so it might affect my overall calorie burn and shred, and I gotta bring my loads down a bit, but I was actually getting leaner while developing the muscle in the areas I really needed to in my lower body. Whew, that 70 is tough. You can hear my respiration, harder to talk, all right? And that's how you know too, if you can't, the moment you can't really start talking during your cardio, you flipped over the switch to more of a high intensity interval push. So I'm still more steady state, breathing heavier. I'm at 75% compression now. And one thing too, I can go continuous on this, or what I also like to do too is, let's say I hit like 2 to 5 minutes on this, hit a set of squats, still with the BFR, or do some lunging, some step ups, or some terminal knee extension, which by the way, I love doing TKEs before working my backward sled because it really activates that VMO and improves that terminal knee extension before I start working it for time, for high repetition, high volume. So, and again, but the bike also helped with that too. And I even, by the way, warming up wise, I wrap my knees with floss bands with that medial wrapping technique to help pull and stretch that kneecap more medially versus laterally. And I did a couple minutes both on the bike and then here before getting into the workout. So floss banding the area, that's the great thing about floss bands. You get the support, you get the compression, the fascial restriction improvements, and then it helps get more flexion extension in the joint. You work the pattern you're about to work with the floss band on, take them off. Wow, smooth muscle mechanics, optimized joint positioning, everything's active, good sweat going. So that's great too. Man, 75 is crushing me right now. Let's go to 80. This is as high as it goes. You probably hear it, I don't know if you guys hear it adjusting, which is pretty cool. All right, let's pump it. And then what I would do with this, once I get as high as I can, I was kind of going, because I'll do a 20-minute countdown clock on this, and I'll just go until I start to lose the speed. Here's a good speed I want to maintain. When I can't maintain that speed, I'll rest 10 to 20 seconds, get right back into it. So basically I'm just doing like a big cluster set here. Just burning out
taking myself to the point where I might start to lose form. I might start to wobble a little bit or start to grind through. You stop, shake it out, get back in about 10 to 20 seconds. And again, so many times I'm reaching near muscle failure with light load, easy on the joints, safe, stable positioning. So what it's doing to my VMOs is just incredible. Again, not dealing with the next day swelling, the clicking, the cracking, the soreness. Occasionally I've got already aggressive knee arthritis, so I have good days, bad days with this, but the goal with it is I look at it like arm wrestling. So when you're down here with that joint pain, you're pinned, it feels hopeless. The goal is to get to the point where you get to the middle and then secure that wrist over the top. And then eventually you can start to lean on the pain. Here's the gain, that's the pain. It's a mentality with this. So you're trying to build momentum. You gotta find a way, okay, I just wanna string together a couple days with little to no pain, little to no swelling. Now it becomes, can I get a week? Can I get a couple weeks? Can I push it to a month? Once you can get to the point, as I have in this 3-month block, as at the time of recording this, again, facing total knee replacements, bone on bone. Doc said you gotta stop filming workout videos, have somebody else do the exercises for you. Like, bro, that's not gonna work. But look, I know what he was trying to do, but now it's the point where, okay, I'm over the top. I gotta still do the stuff. I gotta massage the quads every day. I gotta do my voodoo floss for my knees. I've gotta be religious about my morning BFR bike. And on the bike, I can go level 1 out of 10 and get the same effect in some cases. But now I feel I have the confidence where even when there's a flare up, okay, rest, take it easy, more massage, really light bike. A couple of days it clears versus sometimes the swelling got so bad, it took a month or more to clear. And now it's pinned me down here. I'm back. And then I gotta flip that wrist over the top, Sylvester Stallone style. Lincoln Hawk style, fucking Lincoln Hawk. And now I've got the edge. This is a mentality. Rehabilitation is the hardest training you'll ever fucking do. That's what I tell people because it takes perfect training. You gotta do the perfect warm-ups. You gotta have the loading, intensity, volume, and frequency perfect. You gotta recover like an animal. The ice, the heat, the compression. If you had access to pool, even better. So you get the point. I'm pretty pumped up here. And by the way, same thing can apply to the sled push. It's ultra hard on the sled push, in my opinion, because again, with the backward sled, it's a smaller movement. This is like full range, single leg squats, one at a time, triple extension, ankle, knee, hip. Oh, so this is absolutely crushing me right now. I've got a fan low because without a couple fans hitting this, I'll slip. So I want to just take you in behind the scenes, just to again remind you what I did today. I first spent about 10 minutes massaging, rolling out my quads and my hip flexors to take tension out of what would come into the knees when I'm working. Then I did some floss band for the knees, deep knee bending squat positions. I also kept the floss bands on to do a couple minute bike, couple minute backward sled push. Then I did a 20-minute bike, level 1, 60% compression with these guys on. And then I came on here and did this demo for you, and that was about 20 minutes. So I got a great little, and again, I do it in the morning. I'm consistent with it. I could have gone harder, but for me, it's like what I like to do is I want to know every morning I can at least do a flow I can lean on. I don't do the backward sled necessarily every day, but I try to bike. I try to hit the backward sled a couple times a week, and then I try to get the bike at least 5 times a week. Maybe a day or 2 off based on how I'm feeling, because I also have to film a lot of stuff. I have a lot of other stuff I have to do too. So I try to manage it, but this has been an absolute game changer for me, in particular with the BFR blood flow restriction edition. Ask any questions in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this kind of walkthrough. And by the way, I do think that flow is ideal. I'd recommend at least 5 to 10 minutes warming up on the bike before even coming on here, because again, you want to go from more stable to less stable in terms of how you flow and order your exercises, especially when you're dealing with really aggressive knee pain and or you have muscle activation issues, joint positioning issues, etc. All right, love you guys. Peace.